Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.
So, Mel, I mean, at this point in the review, I'm looking like the new voice of the youth. Still the captain, of course, but still the voice of the youth, perhaps, as well. And we have another voice of the youth. I'm bringing on another voice of the youth. You know her from the Playboy Cardi episode, if you heard that one. Misha, welcome back to the show.
This is the second Mally Raw produced song I've had the chance to be on the podcast for. So
this is true, actually. Oh, before I forget, let me hit the applause.
Oh my god!
Welcome back.
Yeah, this is it's a crazy day, folks. If you're listening, we're recording this guest spot on January 6th, 2021.
That may be a day that lives in infamy when you go back in the history books and you guys are listening. So
Jesus.
Well, there was an attempted coup going on in DC. We decided, let's discuss Lil Uzi Vert. Why not?
Yeah, you see the tweets. It's like, this is one of those moments where people are going to ask you, where were you? It's like, oh, I was talking about track 15 on Love is Rage 2. So, yeah, but.
And as Misha mentioned, this is produced by Mally Raw.
Yeah, and
Dark Queen.
I don't know how, Mally Raw and I guess Rex Kudo. Whatever that is. This is what Genius says, and we know about that website, so, that could be true. It could be a lie. Who knows? But we know it's Molly Raw for sure, though, because the tag is in the beat. But, customarily, I guess I should, for first-time listeners, you never know, they might be around. I'll just go through that rating system real quick. Basically, each song is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. These numbers do not reflect the quality of a song, as that is indeterminable. Instead, each number reflects a level of enjoyment. In short, here's what each number means. 10 means this is a perfect song to me, one of my favorite songs of all time. 9 means I love it. 8 means I like it a lot. 7 means I like it. 6 means it's I don't dislike it, but I can't say that I like it. 5 means I feel practically nothing about it. 4 means it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I dislike it. 3 means I dislike it. 2 means I hate it. And 1 means I absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things I've ever heard. Side note, if we add a plus or a minus to the number, it has no statistical, mathematical value. It's just an indicator letting you know, hey, this is like a strong or light version of that number, like a 6 plus. It's like a strong 6. Or an indicator that it could go up or down in the future because the ratings aren't static on this wacky show of ours. So yeah, that's out of the way now. So, I mean, whoever wants to kick this off.
Well, customarily, I like to ask the guest if they would like to go first or if they'd like us to go first.
I have no problem going first. I'd say offhand, I'd put Dark Queen at either 7 plus or an 8 minus.
Oh, that's my kind of shit right there. All right, listen. All right, I'm just gonna come out and say it. Okay, wait, where's that drop? All right, I'm gonna say it.
The sound bank is growing more and more every day. I gotta dig through it and find that thing. All right, here it is. I found it. Shout out to this kid wherever he is in the country. Hope he's safe.
You know what? I'm about to say it.
Listen, you don't want to speak too soon. He could have been in the Capitol building today.
For all we know. Yeah.
All right, but you know what? I'm gonna say it. I agree with Misha. 8 minus.
Wow.
8 minus. This is one of my highlights of the album. It's not my favorite song on the album. By now we've gotten through the majority of the review. We're 1 track away from the review being over with, and we still haven't heard my favorite song. Hint, it's coming up next. But there's stuff I like even more than this, like up top 2 and 444 plus 222. The previous song, what is it, Malfunction?
I believe so.
Yeah, so this is another highlight for me, though. And 8 minus, I like it quite a bit.
All right, I've been exposed, but here's the thing. Moulz, you've been calling me the voice of the youth for many seasons now. Many seasons. A lot of people have told me, hey, Mel, you're a great voice of the youth. But no, the truth is, I don't, F them kids. I don't know about them kids. And I'll be honest, while I am a Lil Uzi Vert fan, I feel the same way about him as I do with like Playboy Cardi and everything. I don't ever have huge expectations going in. I'm just happy to get a handful of tracks from each project. Unfortunately for me, this was not one of those tracks for me. I got to give it a flat 6. I'm sorry. I feel like every time Misha's on the show, I don't like the song, and I want to finally like the song.
Well, I mean that might speak to this Molly Raw person.
Well, no, because Molly Raw has a beat on the whole lot of red that I like. It's not Molly Raw.
Listen, we know about you now. You're not the voice of the youth anymore. The truth has been revealed.
I never was. This title was bestowed upon me. I didn't agree to this. I didn't want this. I don't like kids. I'm never having kids.
Also, you hate moms, so there's something really suspect going on right now.
Well, we can get into the song because I'm glad you brought that up. So, content. So here's the thing. Since 2017, I've always been confused about this record. Now, I'll say one thing up top. I thought when I first heard this, my takeaway 4 years ago now, I was like, something like vaguely demonic about this, which fits his whole shtick. Because him and a lot of these rappers are doing, freaking, you've seen Cardi's merchandise and supposedly, I don't know how accurate this is, but I've heard that Lil Uzi Vert. Oh, maybe you haven't. It has upside down crosses and all sorts of odd occult looking stuff. But I've heard, I don't know how true this is. Apparently Lil Uzi Vert is if you say it slowly, it's Lucifer. Lil Uzi Vert. I don't know how true that is.
The funniest thing is I actually learned that there's, of course, the infamous video of, the battle rapper, Daylight or whatever, saying it as if he discovered some magnanimous thing that yo, I'm breaking the code. But how I accidentally realized it is, of all things, Ron Artest was talking about Uzi in the interview for some reason.
Shout out to him.
saying about how nowadays the younger kids, they ain't listening to Nas and Jay-Z, they listen to Lil Uzi Vert. And I'm just that's an incredibly meta world peace moment, but also I'm wait, Uzi Vert. Right.
Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert. It's almost if you say it fast and you say it kind of
or maybe you were saying it fast
with a little bit of a twang. It's like Lil Uzi Vert, it's Lil Uzi Vert, Uzi Vert, son of the morning.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. I don't really know where I stand as far as if that guy is even real or not. But I don't know. So with the title, it's Dark Queen, and it's so. Initially, I'm okay, it's about his mom, but then it starts to. Just to me, it starts to feel a little scattered. So I'm is it still about his mom, or is this a metaphor? Is he referring to some sort of occult priestess that we don't know? I'm not trying to get into see,
now he's calling his mother an occult priestess.
I'm sorry, Uzi, if you're listening. I don't want to get into Jay-Z is a Freemason territory. I'm just so I wasn't really sure what to think of this song. But I mean, now in 2021, I'm okay, it's not really demonic. I think it is about his mom, really breaking it down line by line. But there are still moments where it seems like he gets off track for me. And I'm just and I'm confused too, because not to get ahead of myself, but there's lines where he's mama used to bag in the daytime. And I'm so wait, did his mom sell drugs? Is this... I'm not sure what's happening here.
Allegedly, his mom might have sold drugs, according to your impressions. Jesus Christ!
Right. No, I'm not accusing her. Yeah.
Listen, let me say something. I am in the general Philadelphia area right now, so if need be, I will mask up and I will rat you out to Lil Uzi's mom, because I, for one, when you bring mothers into this, this is a very dangerous territory, my friend.
That's fair. That's right. You know,
shit getting out of hand now.
My bad.
All right.
You know?
All right.
It's really not.
Sure.
His
you know
mom's
what?
not the
You know what?
issue.
Now that he's not the voice of the youth anymore, Misha, I think we have a new name for Mel. His new name is Vlad Mel.
What? Oh, come on. Come on, man. That's not me. That's not.
It's a setup. Rap Rankings is a setup.
I would never.
Someone's wearing a wire. That's all I'm saying.
You're going to make me play it. Here it is.
Would you look at that, Kevin? It's the police.
It's not me. I don't affiliate with Vlad types. I'm just asking. I'm just trying to comprehend the record. You know, it like I said, his mom isn't the issue. Like when he's in his storytelling parts of the song, I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm just confused by other lines. I'm like, how does this tie into the story? I think really for me, there's a legacy of mom tribute records in hip hop.
Yeah, and this one's better than Hey Mama by Kanye West.
Wow.
It's also better than anything Tupac ever wrote about his
mom. All right, okay. Speak. This is controversial. Okay, well, hey, look, the key to the show is honesty. I mean, I guess I'm in the minority here. Minority leader Melvin Birch, I guess. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of always been like okay to me. Hence, like the 6, it's like, you know, musically, you got the sort of EDM-ish vocal sample that sounds like it's anchoring the whole thing, and then like standard trap drums. I guess like it's not a bad beat at all. It's just like nothing has ever really been like extraordinary about it to me. Maybe I'm just like jaded from hearing mom tributes. I don't know. It might just be my fault. Maybe this is, you know, worthy of being a 7, and I'm just like a motherless child. I don't know.
You've listened to too many Eminem albums, and as a result, this has made you become an antagonist to the matriarchy. You know, you're about to start. We're about to start hearing feminist takes about.
Okay. I've got nothing. I've got nothing. You got nothing. All right. You got nothing on Uzi. Okay. Uzi does this touching tribute to his mother. Here's what I'll say about it. Why I give it the minus. Like, I love the beat. I do think the beat is somewhat standout because of the vocal sample in it. That it almost gives it a dreamlike fairy tale sort of quality. You know, I like the ambiance with that. You know, it's to me, I like a trap beat with a nice little sample in it. It scratches that itch for me that I'm the sample man. We all know this.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm many men, just like my man 50. But
oh dear,
oh boy,
the G-Unit soldier has logged on.
Oh, he's been logged out. He hasn't logged out since 03.
You haven't logged out since the Curtis review. So
all right. Yeah. So the music I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of the melody that Mama, I don't want no mama. Na, 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 na. You know that I like that. When he first stops to rap, I wasn't a fan of the verse, and then he went back into the melody again, and then he raps again, and I'm like, this verse is good. This is what I'm talking about, Uzi. So that's the minus. It would have been a flat 8 if he would have cut out the rapping and kept it all melody, and then kind of just gave himself a guest verse, if you will, with that last verse at the end there.
I see what you mean.
But like, other than that, something about this Uzi, man, he does the like youth shit the best to me.
He's one of the better youth, in my opinion. I mean, the song, like, there are aspects of the song I enjoy. I mean, like, definitely the parts that kind of, you know, give me cognitive dissonance. Like, you know, I feel like he mixes regular rap conventions, you know, things, flaunting wealth and such, with the theme is supposed. I feel like more mom talk would have been better for me. Like, you know, I wish like the whole thing was just like a storytelling record. Like, for instance, I like the section like, you got the best advice, but I won't call. I know I'm grown, so I do not need y'all. And if I get locked up, mom changed the law. You fix everything. So that's what I thought. When I was small, mama made me tall. Like that section is cool. I think that's good writing. The way that a young child would look at their mom is almost like this person who's
I think
capable
much better
of doing
than
anything.
not to compare moms, but much better than famous homemade chicken soup. Could I have another bowl?
Oh, come on, man. You never even had the soup. It could be worthy of rapping about.
I don't want it. There's never been a chicken soup in the history of chicken soup that's worth rapping about.
Wow.
Whoa. Hold on.
DJ Webstar? Is this DJ Webstar
Yeah.
erasure? Okay.
Yeah,
chicken noodle soup. Yeah, what's wrong with you, Moulz?
I don't know. I'm
You're not. Okay, so one man here hates Harlem. The other man here hates.
No, I love Harlem. I love
mothers.
Harlem.
So it's like
we got From Old as the third member. We can't hate Harlem.
mm-hmm.
Oh man,
He's from Old Harlem.
Yeah, we know about you. You don't got a soda on the side. That's why you're talking.
No,
crazy.
the soda on the side is great. It's much better than that's a better song than Hey Mama. And it's a better song about chicken soup. This is a better song about moms, and that's a better song about chicken soup.
I can't.
At least the chicken soup plays a
but I
more.
will allow them.
At least the chicken soup, you have to understand the chicken soup, is the focal point of chicken noodle soup. While Hey Mama, it's all about his mama. So you're going to tell me, have I had the soup? Well, it's not called Hey Soup.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things his mom was known for. Why does every conversation in hip hop always somehow end up back at Kanye? This is what he wants.
I'm mad at him.
Me too. I've been mad at this dude since like post Pablo.
I'm not even mad at him. Let me rephrase that. I'm not mad at him. I don't know him. I'm mad at the people. I'm mad at the people who allowed him.
There.
So I take
it all stems back to 2007. It all stems back to that night on one of.
That's the thing. Like people think because I like Taylor Swift that they're like, oh, I see what this is. Taylor Swift. I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. Taylor Swift was not even a twinkle in Kanye West's eye when he first committed his first great treasonous act upon hip hop. And even before Curtis, even before 07, he had those rumble pack drums, Misha. Those drums that boom, 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 sounded like freaking.
I'm not complimenting the men's drums. Like, don't look at me for that.
I might be the only one who does not absolutely hate early Kanye drums. I do acknowledge that they're a little goofy, a little clunky sometimes, but
hey,
or just outright stolen. But
this isn't Kanye rankings. They got a whole website, complex.com for that. Okay, we got Lil Uzi Vert.
Twitter does that once a week.
Yeah, and Twitter does that. Right. So, this is about the Dark Queen. Which I mean, I just want to know what's dark about her. She seems to be a loving and supporting person, which is why, like I said, there was something I was like, so is this demonic? Like, what is this?
Mel,
who?
Don't make me say it. Don't make either of us have to say it to you.
Mel, come on.
This is gonna get the podcast scrapped. I want you guys to succeed and thrive.
What do you think? What do you think? What makes just what Dark Queen? What could that be alluding to?
And you ain't black.
Thank you.
I don't know. I just be trying to understand these kids,
You're just going into it with the wrong idea. You're thinking Lucifer.
I mean, I didn't want to think about him. But look at earlier. It's 444 plus 222. Like, what am I supposed to think about this guy?
It's a lovely song.
Oh man,
you're reading into this. You're like. Oh my God, you're like when all of a sudden Migos suddenly became really Christian out of nowhere and started harassing Uzi on Instagram. Like, yo, bro, that means the devil, right? Yo, bro,
I remember that.
Right?
Yeah,
yo,
that was
you friends with Marilyn Manson, and it's like, what?
Uzi, I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. You got to forgive me. I'm old. You said he said himself, if you like 25 and above, you old. Which is funny because he's 26 now. You know, yeah. I hate to be like 80s satanic panic about it. I apologize. I'm just, trying to make sense of this. You know.
But hey, if you want to look at it from that angle, you could queue up a Moulz wacky scenario on my Skyrim. The Skyrim massive. Where are you at right now? That's what I want to know, because we got the Dark Brotherhood in Skyrim, and you pray to the Night Mother. And I was wondering, the Dark Queen, Dark Queen.
Okay.
If you want, listen, any song you want can be turned into a devil worshipping song.
Probably, if you tried hard enough.
So if you're going into it with those intentions, and that's what you're going to hear.
What's the Cage anecdote where he was 10 and he was convinced Magic by Olivia Newton-John was about the devil, and so he was obsessively listening to that. Yeah, wow. So there.
Yeah.
Listen, for now I'm gonna say Uzi, you're exonerated, but eventually I will play this song backwards. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, but I'm gonna let you cook for now.
Zooming out a little bit, Misha, Love is Rage 2. Is this your favorite Lil Uzi Vert album? Is this considered sort of a letdown to you? I mean, where do you stand on this album amongst his discography? Because I know you're a fan.
So surprisingly, this isn't my favorite album. I thought that last year's album from Uzi was actually his strongest project to date. But that being said, I remember when this first came out, there was some enthusiasm and also some kind of disappointment, because I think a lot of people who weren't necessarily checking on Uzi project to project or anything like that heard EXO Tour Life and thought his work was going to be that level of constructed and cohesive.
Right.
And it was not the case on most of the album, which in my opinion is not bad, because it's if the single is more cohesive and structured than a lot of the album material, that's normal. Right?
Yeah, that's a standard album situation, really.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
I know though, EXO was that moment for me, because this is not, I'm not in a hurry to hear what at the time was a 22-year-old kid, that I previously only heard on Young Thug mixtapes, who didn't really impress me.
It was the first time I heard him. Was it Lamborghini something? The intro to Slime Season 2?
Slime Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard him.
I wasn't overly impressed with him on there, so I was just, okay, I'm going to ignore this dude until he does something that, makes an impact. And then, fast forward a little bit to EXO, and that kind of blew me away just from a song perspective. Not even just thinking about rap, but just oh wow, this is actually a really great song. And
okay, it was Big Rack. Sorry to interrupt. The track one on Slime.
I got them big racks right on me. I got them big racks right on me.
Yeah, that song.
So I didn't know who he. I knew who he was, but I just didn't care. And that song made me take notice. But when I listened to the album, even though I didn't necessarily get another EXO from him, I still, as you guys have realized by this point in the review, I still ended up enjoying a good chunk of stuff on here. So,
word, yeah. I mean, to what Misha was saying, I think I was definitely in that group of people who, for me, I came on board with him with what I guess was a polarizing verse on Bad and Bougie. I thought it was great when I heard it.
But
yeah, okay, well, cool. I'm not alone. Thank you. So and I was all right, this guy that I've been hearing about, this is okay. I'm gonna look further into him, and then of course he was getting the Russell Westbrook Nike or Jordan commercial looks.
You want me to sound real old right now, Mel?
Oh sure, yeah.
I've only heard Bad and Bougie 2 times.
For real?
Yes. Because I've only heard Culture by the Migos 2 times.
But it was a #1 single, I think.
Where?
on the
It was the number one single, yeah.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is where? On the radio? Because I'm not listening to the radio. I program my own music, you know?
This was in the era of, I think Vine was still around. Like, you know, there were memes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you ask me how many times I'd probably seen a Vine with that song in it or something like that, that's another story. But how many times
look, they even did, like, they made an edit where it was, like, just Uzi saying, like, because he starts the verse, like, yeah. Like, it was just him saying, yeah, over and over for, like, you know, an hour. So, yeah. It was around. That was when I was like, okay, this guy's interesting. And then I started hearing like Now I Do What I Want and other records, and I'm like, okay, I like this guy. Like he's colorful, he's fun. You know?
I didn't like the Do What I Want when I saw it. What was it, a Nike ad?
Yeah, it was Russell Westbrook.
What the fuck is this?
You
shit?
didn't like Now I Do What I Want?
No, I didn't like
that was catchy. That was who doesn't want to do what they want. You know,
me. I don't want to do what anyone wants.
Not even yourself.
Nope. I'm tired of that song.
Very psychological.
You know, now I do what I want. Well, first of all, why don't you do what you want anyway? Fuck you.
Well, maybe he couldn't, you know, but now he has the ability to do what he wants.
I don't like that. Now I do what I want. It's a whiny song. I don't care for it.
Well, but I'll tell you,
the XO won me over, and now I bet if I played Do What I Want right now, I think it was like top shelf material, honestly. Especially with some of the shit I've been hearing coming out lately. Maybe that Do What I Want might sound like a revelation, you know?
Well, not to spoil the song coming up, but I mean, EXO Tour Life, it makes sense why people would be excited and expect more of that. Because in my opinion, again, not to spoil, I think it was one of the better singles of the whole last decade. You know, it was a great song. Like, you know, so... I knew going into this album, like, I don't know if he's even trying to pull this off. And very, very quickly, I realized, okay, he's not going to try to do that again. Like, that was just, you know, that's what he felt like making at the time. He made it. It worked. It blew up. But he's going to, like, go back to doing whatever he wants, you know, which is fine. You know, I got my
does what he wants.
Right. Yep. You know? But
I like that song, Safe House. Is that old from him?
It's pretty old, but...
Okay, I like that one. That was a good song. I listened, you know, I heard him here and there. I'm not saying, you know, I completely ignored him, but he just wasn't someone I was immediately checking for. And EXO, and then going on to listen to this album, made him someone who I do check for now. Whereas I've even fallen off with, like, Future. I kind of stopped giving a shit about what he put out because everything started to blend together. But
most people don't even listen to Future at this point, if we're being honest. It's really funny because I can't think of people who are really into like the last 3 or 4 Future projects. It's like we're already in another shift where a lot of the people who came up in the early 2010s are kind of, they're old now. And it's like, I'm old now, which is really brutal. And it's, ugh.
Well, I don't think it helps either that Future gave in to the narrative that people, you know,
bestowed upon him.
Yeah.
And that he at one point maybe helped fuel. But Misha, it's funny because you posted something not too long ago on Twitter, and I was really racking my brain. CBG, you're not going to like this one, but you said that at least from an innovation standpoint, Atlanta peaked in 2015.
Yeah.
That's a theory, and I like it.
From an innovation standpoint, that doesn't mean that they've ceased to create quality music since then. Just that, you know, what felt new and exciting and constantly evolving has felt like maybe it's been in a holding pattern for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, so you both of you would understand this. If you look at the history of rap, like, you look at how long New York was constantly, maybe not always at the forefront, but constantly providing some of the higher quality and best rap music. It's like, it is an astonishing amount of time, but then there's a definite cutoff point where outside of maybe 1 or 2 people, realistically, nothing is really changing. And if anything, it's kind of regressive and bad, which is like, I would say specifically for New York, it would have been the mid 2000s where we got into the post 50 Cent guy who's going to be the next 50 Cent, but is very clearly not nearly as good at songcraft or bars or has a personality. It's like, you two have to remember the millions of mixtapes that came out where it's like, you have to get 17 volumes of a Papoose mixtape discography, and there's maybe 2, not freestyles, but songs on them that are actually memorable, and there's 2 really weird bad ideas, like him sort of talking over K Slay looping Love is a Battlefield by
Hey, I like that. It has okay, give me this, okay? Give me this at least. If people are allowed to enjoy Lil B's bass freestyles, I can enjoy Papooses spoken word over like 80s samples.
Yeah, but at least Lil B will like randomly start talking about something that's completely unrelated. Papoose is meanwhile trying to do a poetry slam, and it's like, no, man, I don't want to hear this from you. I want to hear rapping about hitting people in the head with Hennessy bottles. What are you doing? Like, Lil B at least can get away with that.
Okay, but fair enough.
In any case, it's like, you look at like, so if Saigon. I'm like saying Saigon, the Saigons, the, you know, no disrespect to any of these guys because I loved them at the time, but like the Uncle Murdas, the
still love Uncle Murda, you know, but he's not gonna. He's clearly not like cut from the cloth of a 50 Cent.
The various third tier Dipset guys, it's like, it was never going to happen for Shiest Bub, no matter how hard I wanted to will it in my imagination. Skull Gang was never going to be a thing. It's like, it is what it is. And it's because
man,
it didn't
pray for the
anything.
Purple City, okay? The Purple City will be avenged one day.
It's like one of those things where it's like, for however long it's for Atlanta as well, it's like, if you go from like, let's say, when does Atlanta really have like a national scene presence? Like maybe like 1990, I want to say, because at that point the whole industry of the music industry moves to Atlanta, you know, with the whole LaFace Records thing,
right?
So there is a sort of generative environment, and so from about 1990 to, I want to say, 2015, that is like a cultural mainstay. It takes a while, and honestly, I think controversially, I would say some of what other people might jump to immediately is not as important. Like, for example, I don't necessarily think that the career of Outkast is as important as the career, not just as a frontman, but the whole musical career of Lil Jon, for example. But that's a debate for another time. But what I'm saying is, once we get to 2015, once we hit the point where like Migos and Thug and that generation is breaking out, everything since then has kind of been in the New York holding pattern, because, you know, I understand that people love Gunna and Lil Baby and Lil Keed and Lil Got It and all these guys, but to me, I'm like, why does everyone sound like the less interesting versions of the guys who came out just a year ago, and no one's doing a new thing? It's like,
why are the guys who came out a year ago either spinning their wheels and just making like the same sort of stuff that they were making in 2015 to diminishing returns, or in the case of someone like Young Thug, sort of little by little plucking all of the uniqueness out of himself so that he could become, you know, like Future's little brother.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's also
what is so much fun if not an exercise in being Future?
It's true. It's also really, it's like, I always hate doing this to people who are like enjoying somebody like a Lil Baby, because he's inarguably a popular rapper and he's doing really well for himself. And also there are people who are not really from Atlanta, but are like kind of in the weird 300 QC, you know, circling the wagons of like Megan Thee Stallion and the Baby, where I'm like, this is stepdad music. This is like very much, I can get this on a certain level, but it's because I'm old and it's deliberately appealing to me. But that's not good, because it was literally like a year or two ago we had the whole, you know, the SoundCloud rappers or the the TikTok rappers where everything was just hyper distorted and just noise, and everybody was like, oh, this is not even music. And now you've got people who are like really functional, good rappers who are even making songs about complex things like politics and the struggle of the streets. And I'm like, that's great, but also it's like that appeals to me because I'm old, and I'm like, that's not great. That's no, I like Lil Baby is Papoose, and it's like I loved Papoose, but I'm also like, these are literally selling points I used to get from guys in order to make them appeal to Kanye fans. It's like, yeah, he has a song about, going to the law library, or did you hear his song about the war in Iraq? It's really moving, man. Like this isn't one of those other guys. This guy really gets to the heart of the matter, and it's just like, I'm kind of good on that. Like, just for my point.
Word. We're on the same page there, at least. I may hate mamas, but I know where you're coming from here. This I can get jiggy with.
I brought that all up though to circle around to this point. Uzi's from Philly. He's not from Atlanta,
which was shocking when I found out. Like however many years ago, I would have just assumed he was from Atlanta.
So immediately, to me, what comes to mind is he's still within the orbit of a lot of Atlanta rappers. I mean, his most recent project is a collaborative album with Future. So he's very much in the orbit of guys like Young Thug and Future and Gunna, and he's worked with all of them. But he's worked with producers who are in that, in that landscape as well. But there is something about him that separates him a little bit from those guys for me, in my mind. And I don't know if it was the, in my mind, manufactured label drama that he was going through that kept him away when everyone else was burning themselves out. And then he kind of came back in
retrospect, that might have been one of the best things, because I was worried about him. I'm like, yo, he should probably capitalize on this huge song he has.
It was kind of a coin toss for him, for sure.
But like, he's still around. Like there's two things that really set him apart. And it was, number one, staying out of the fray when all these other guys like Migos, Future, and Young Thug were completely oversaturating themselves and watering themselves down. And two, because he waited, he kind of was able to come back in 2020 after a 2.5 year long absence from putting out an album, which is a decade for a young rapper like him who is expected to put out at least 2 projects a year.
For sure.
And really the cherry on top is that you listen to something like a Free Uzi or You Better Move or something, and it's obvious, it's like, this kid's got bars.
He
has knows how to rap. He's a good rapper. And I mean, listen, not knocking, dude, Migos, Future, and Thug were all good rappers. I've always said, like, people overlook the fact that these guys are, in their own way, lyricists. They, can sometimes be insanely in the pocket. They can ride the beat very, listen to what they're doing. They're good rappers. As things have drifted more in a direction of this sing-songy, pseudo-trap meets melodic R&B sort of mashup where you're getting less and less of that, Uzi coming back in 2020 with all of those attributes, but also really some bars too, is, a saving grace for him ultimately, I think.
I mean, I look at Eternal Atake as a very rap-centric project. I remember, at least on my timeline, the initial responses were like, I guess they expected more poppy, maybe futsal shuffle-ish-esque records, but he's rapping, at least that first part of the album is just rapid
the first
fire.
Third, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like Pop could have easily been on a bus driver album at certain points. And it's gotta have been it's got to be a real head trip for guys who were all the flows where he's just pop that, do the dash, do the bank roll, I say so, wait so, and it's you're coming from a year where I think before that the only major rap record was the Pop Smoke album, So you're going from a guy who's like stringing together 3 words at a time to all of this, and it's just like, huh, what?
Yeah, it was kind of jarring. I mean, I'm glad I'm officially never. I listen to pop pretty often, and now like I'm just gonna like think of Bus Driver like when they're like, oh shoot, like doing his little thing, and you know, like I need that to happen. I mean, he's just like side note, he's dabbled in these like he did like a Worst Behavior remix once, like he did a. Before Kanye's All Day even came out, like he just like did a flip of like the little snippet that was circulating in like 2014. Like, why do I remember this stuff? And like I don't even have like more than one Bus Driver project on my computer. I don't know, but you know,
this is why we do this show.
You know, but yeah, I think Uzi though ultimately he has clearly personality that a lot of other rappers lack. I mean, it bleeds through in the way he decides to say things, but definitely outside of the booth, when you watch interviews, when you just watch how he carries himself, you know, you got the shoulder shimmy and things like that. But like to really get a sense of him, like he did that, like, I don't know. It's like, it was one of those, like, it might've been with GQ, like the 10 things you can't live without, like just his whole demeanor. Like he has this sort of sort of, what's the word I want to use? Impish, maybe? Like this very childlike, kind of mischievous, kind of naive, but also like, but clearly he has like a head on his shoulders. He's very cognizant of what's going on. Like he's a funny guy. Honestly, Uzi sometimes, not all the time, I don't want to offend anybody, kind of reminds me of Prince a little bit. Just a little bit, you know, sometimes.
They're both very small men.
That's true.
They are, you know, eccentrics, you know, in their way. They do often, like, you know, they all do often put on airs and sort of, like, try to play with people whenever there's a chance that they can do that.
I mean, I think of Uzi's, like, it was like red carpet interview at the Grammys where, like, he was giving, like, one-word answers. Just, like, you know.
The most passionate he sounds, it's like, after this, if you get the award, what are you going to do?
Yeah, right.
Pop-Tarts. And after that, Well, Gosha just dropped a new line of their spring collection, and I'm really interested in that. So I might see if I could buy some of that. And it's like Pop-Tarts and fashion. Who could want more? And
right, you know, just I think that's what kind of makes him buoyant in the sea of rappers who are similar to him, who either are his children or maybe came before him. Is just that's what helps him stand out. So it's just, you know, Uzi, I got a soft spot in my heart for Uzi for sure. And this album, you know, as we're nearing the end here, this album, I think I probably like it. I do now. I like it more than I liked it in 2017. Like a few songs went up for me, but I think each Uzi album I usually like maybe the same amount of songs, and like I don't really hold. I don't think of him as an album artist. I think of him as a guy who puts out a collection of songs, and chances are he's gonna have 2 or 3 that are like 8s for me, you know, and then like a few 7s, and then like some 6s. You know, he's never made like anything below a 5, I don't think. Like, he's never made a song that I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like, it's never happened. So, you know.
Well, this album had 2 4s on it for me.
Oh, see, you're not the voice of the youth. Come on. You're lying.
Neon
Give me the title
Guts.
back.
Neon Guts.
You don't like
Neon Guts.
Okay. Again,
Guts.
folks, I got to remind you, we record these guest spots before we do the full review sometimes. So I didn't know this about Moulz. So now when we do the full review
Guts,
tomorrow,
you
don't like Neon Guts?
Agree.
I think I knew this, but like
Basura, okay.
No.
Garbo, okay.
No. It's not good.
Thank you, Misha. Tell him. It's Neon Guts is good.
No, she's saying
it's not.
She agrees with
Wait,
you.
it's not? No. Oh.
I'm sorry.
No one wants to hear Washed Up Pharrell.
Wait, what's the other 4 for you?
The next song, Early 20 Rager.
That's not a 4. That's spoiler.
I don't necessarily
6.
give
Well,
that
not
a 4, but I mean,
I don't
Neon
care
Guts,
for.
I'm
I don't
not
care
gonna
for either song.
defend.
They're both bad songs to me. Everything else is
Fair
somewhere between, you know, a 5 and a 9.
Oh man, you gave Neon Guts a 4.
Yeah, and there's an old saying, from the old country: "Neon Guts sucks." I'm sorry.
This?
Neon Guts, neon sucks.
Listen,
that's what they used to say.
My response to this revelation:
I was hurt, stunned, astounded, amazed, and dazed.
Okay, that's just. I might be one of very few. To be fair, most people I know don't like Neon Guts, but I think it's great.
You're only saying all of this because you know any minute now, like, one of the Pharrell Sandboys is going to come out of the woodwork, a refugee from the great Two Dope Boys purge of 2012, and he's just going to start trying to strangle you with his Kid Robot hoodie, just like, I heard you talking shit about the fucking God skateboard fee.
I mean, my thing is, Moulz knows this about me. I'm a fan of, like, late career Pharrell production. Despite,
I mean, that's fine, but just know that's like, in a way, it's almost like saying, like, it's the modern equivalent of like, hey, say what you want, but I love this, like, yay, Jesus is King era Kanye.
Oh no, that's not equivalent. That stuff sucks. No. Come on, man.
Hey, the gospel album is good.
I honestly can't comment on it because I couldn't get through it. I just had to tap out.
I'm just gonna throw up the I'm Jewish symbol and just hope it absolves me of my feelings. But I'll give you this: The Last Temptation of Christ is a banger for sure.
I'm gonna say that Jesus is King is better than any of his first 3 albums, but that's just me.
Wow. Look, I hate to hit you with this. I hate to do it.
It's okay to be wrong.
It's okay to be wrong. Jesus is that is one of the takes of the show. So,
and I'm also Jewish, and so it's like I technically have nothing to gain from saying this, but at the same time, like, I'm sorry. It was a good album. It's just it was delivered under very peculiar circumstances. It is so much better than Ye, though. At the end of the day,
I mean, Ye is just the absolute dirt worst. But listen, we can't talk about Jesus as King until he pays those choir members, and then it's free to talk about. Right now, there's unpaid bills.
I think they put out an album just by themselves of a lot of that material. Did they not?
Yeah, I think they did. I heard about that. Like the Sunday service choir.
They pulled a little WWE Twitch deal. They're like, fuck this. We're going on a third party.
Yeah, which, good for them. Like, they completely deserve to get some, like...
There's nothing wrong with the choir. Listen, good for them. But I'm glad they escaped that cult.
If they are out here, like, if they can't get an album executive produced by Kanye, but Playboi Carti can with all the satanic symbols, what does that say about Kanye's relationship with Jesus?
Ooh. A lot of questions are being raised, and a lot of accusations are being made, and I'm loving it. These are the questions that people should be asking.
Hey, man.
You know what it is. It's Rap Rankings. But Misha, thank you so much. Do you have anything to plug? You got any projects going on? Or where can they find you? The usual spiel.
Well, actually, so recently I've started working with some friends on a newsletter called Destroy the Heart. It's a nonprofit collective of mostly younger than me and inexperienced writers who are trying to find a voice for themselves outside of the usual hubbub. And so we just put out our first issue with a couple of entries. I've got 2 entries there. One talking about Sade's which song is it again? Shit, I'm fucking blanking. When Are We Going to Make a Living? Fuck me.
That's a Sade. I like that song.
And then I have another one reflecting on my both the history of the song and my personal relationship to Trey the Truth's Swang. And so
I love that song.
Yeah, it's we're getting a lot of different perspectives. We've got reviews of Bark Psychosis. We've got somebody doing a sort of like long-term piece on Dennis Wilson. It covers a lot of ground, and I'm really I'm impressed with what we've managed to do thus far, and I hope we can keep the wheels going. So if anybody's bored or like really just wants to see some fresh perspectives on music, check it out. Hopefully we manage to stick around for your enjoyment.
So where can they find that?
That's at destroytheheart at substack.com. Destroytheheart.substack.com. Also, I've broadcast the link, and other people have too. It's pretty easy to find. We're hoping to get some more content out for right now on a monthly basis, but hopefully much more and much sooner. And also, we're definitely looking for additional talent. So it's not a for pay website, unfortunately, but if you're interested in just doing something in order to just see your perspective out there, we're more than interested. So by all means, anyone who wants to try, feel free to hit me up at dth.misha@gmail.com, and it would be really appreciated, because the more the merrier, so we can have some real different viewpoints in such a stale music community these days, because holy shit, I cannot take another fucking all the people trying to tell me that fucking Waxatachi or whatever her fucking name is had album of the year. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Fam, like the Phoebe Bridgers thing. I'm sorry to anyone.
I first heard of that woman's name. Like, it's because I follow Maggie Rogers, and she started hanging out with her, and I'm like, who is this person? Yeah, I don't know.
Listen,
shout out to them, though.
You know what it is. Destroy
shout out to being old haters.
.substack.com. We don't know who these new people are. We don't want to know. Right here on Rap Rankings.
I also, before we get out of here, I just want to say on the topic, spoiler, folks, if you get us to 100 patrons, we can do Sade Rankings. And, Misha just mentioned, when am I going to make a living? Spoiler, that's an 8- for me. I can tell you that off the top of my head.
Wow, so spoiler for the upcoming Sade Rankings coming to Patreon once we get to 100. Yeah, we're going to do all her albums once we get to 100. And then once we get to 1,000 patrons, if that's possible, I don't know if
mothers.
We're going to rank it. We're going to do labor. 2 lists. We're going to do the top 20 rap moms, and we're going to do the top 100 rapper tweets. Get into the list-making game, all right? Put Complex out of business at 1,000 patrons. And then 10,000 patrons, we're doing something crazy, for sure.
Okay. Whatever you say, man.
We're doing something. Well, I should specify with everything going on, just so I don't get a knock at the door. What we're going to do, folks, is get a blimp and fly it around America.
We are?
Yeah, it's going to say Rap Rankings on the blimp. But, that's 10,000 patrons. So it feels almost, untenable unless we start getting into the Trapo territory or whatever those idiots talk about.
Trapo,
we start Trapo. Yeah, there we go. So the Trapos
never actually heard the show.
They're making over $1 million a year on Patreon.
What?
They're not actually. I can't say more.
Oh, okay. So it's
okay.
Well, from the sounds of things, just to read into what the little thing you just said, maybe they're fake. Maybe they're fake fake stats, fake numbers.
Listen, my Twitter was just hacked. We gotta cut this short. So
oh shit. All right.
Oh man. So, okay. Listen, we're gonna get out of here, folks.
All right. So,
justice for Misha. We gotta get this Twitter fixed.
We gotta get the Twitter situation under control. And
hackers. Ugh.
What is it? The Doritos Sour Pickle. There we go. We're sponsored by Doritos Sour Pickle. Remember to consume, and get those great Frito-Lay products at all national retailers. Thank you very much.
Get out of here. All right, Rap Rankings continuing after the break.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.